This session is a spine mobility, back mobility session. It's also going to be working on that thoracic area of the spine, including those shoulder blades. And it's going to be a really nice, feel-good session of up to 15 minutes. Right, okay, we're going to start off with a couple of roll downs and roll ups, and it's really nice for if you're feeling a little bit stiff. The key thing here is that you're in control of your movements up and down, and that's when you're protecting yourself when you've got that tension. So I'm going to start in a nice upright position. My feet are hip width apart. I've got that nice balance through my big toe, my outside of my foot, and my heel. And my shoulders are nice and low. And I've got this core strength. So I'm embracing my core. My glutes are nice and engaged. Dropping my hands either side, palms facing towards the front of the room, chin slightly tucked into the chest to align that spine. So we're going to start off by tucking our chin a bit further into our chest, and I'm going to put my hands onto my thighs. I'm slowly going to round the very top of my back, keeping my tummy nice and tucked in, and then slowly trying to roll down all the way as far as I can get, bending my knees if that's more comfortable, and just allowing my body to drop down in this position. If this is really pulling on your hamstrings, just bend those knees nice and generally. You should feel a nice pull in your glutes, maybe your hamstrings, even if your knees are bent, but also a nice pull and stretch down that lower spine for 2, for 1. Now that we've held it, we're just going to move from side to side. And you are going to feel this a little bit more in your legs, but hopefully it's going to be mobilizing the lower part of the back for 3, for 2, for 1, finding some stillness in the center, slowly rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. So really consciously try and roll up from the very bottom of the spine all the way up to the thoracic spine, to the top area, keeping your chin and shoulders until last. It might not look how it feels, that spine. Just be conscious about what you're doing. Engage those glutes, suck that tummy in, engage that pelvic floor. Really allow your body, your spine to flex here. Coming up to a nice standing position. If you find yourself getting lightheaded, just hover at that 90-degree position just for a little bit to allow the blood to sort of settle down, or the flow to settle down. Going back into this, so dropping those shoulders, same again, rolling from the head, the shoulders, the top of the body, all the way down. Allowing your hands to track down your legs, and finishing wherever you feel is comfortable. So you might have both your hands on the floor, you might have them on your feet, on your shins, and just holding or moving around for 3, for 2, for 1, slowly rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae, engaging that core, engaging those glutes, keeping those shoulders and that chin until very last. Nice and controlled movement, standing up, rolling those shoulders back and down, palms facing towards the front of the room, noticing how you're standing. Have you got that nice tripod position? Good. So from here, we're just going to do a couple of good mornings, which is now we've done the roll downs of the spine. We're just going to engage a tiny bit down by the hips. So I'm going to have my hands on my hips here. I'm going to again squeeze my glutes, squeeze my pelvic floor, try and create some stability around this area. Bending my knees slightly, pushing my bottom out, keep my torso nice and aligned. Allow my body or my torso to drop down to 90 degrees. So if you notice here, I'm not overextended in the spine. I've got my torso nice and level. Imagine your ribs and your pelvis being sort of squeezed together. So you're trying to do that without rounding the back. For 2, for 1, hinging up. So squeezing that pelvic floor all the way up. Sounds like a Pilates class, doesn't it? Dropping your shoulders for 2, for 1, and then we're going to go again. So dropping that bottom back, bending those knees, squeezing those internal muscles. 90 degrees or where's comfortable. Bend those knees generously if you need to. Then hinging up with control. Don't snap up, just come up with control. Good. Releasing those hands, dropping those shoulders, coming down into all fours, however you'd like to. Dropping the knees down towards the mat and coming into just 3 versions of cat-cow. So the first one we're going to do, we're making sure we've got a nice top position here. So our hands are below our shoulders, our knees are below our hips, and the tops of our feet are pressing into the mat. So the first one we're going to do is a really, really small variation of the cat-cow. So as we inhale, we're going to lift our tailbone and lift our head just slightly for 3, causing a little bit of extension in the spine for 2, for 1. As we exhale, we're going to tuck that tailbone in. So throw it forwards, tuck your chin in just a little bit for 3, for 2, for 1. Then we're going to drop down to that nice neutral position. And this time I'm going to keep my head and my half of my torso fixed. So right down to my mid spine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep that head and torso fixed, but I'm going to lift my tailbone up towards the ceiling, creating a lumbar extension for 3, for 2, for 1. I'm slowly going to bring that back up to neutral. And then I'm going to do the same with my head. So now keep my bottom of my body, so from my mid spine downwards fixed, and then I'm just going to try and mobilize that top area, the thoracic spine area. Dropping down. So we're going to do the same, but we're going to do the rounding of the back now. So keeping my head, my shoulders, my thoracic spine, the top of my spine fixed. I'm going to try and tuck my tailbone, flex that lower spine, really trying to get the front of my ribs to touch my pelvis here for 2, for 1, slowly going back into that neutral position. And then I'm going to do the same with my head. But I'm going to keep my lower part of my body fixed, or try to keep it fixed at least. Good, coming back. Now, this is a hard one. So this is the last variation. We're going to try and mobilize each area separately. So we're almost like a Mexican wave or a segmented cat-cow. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to start actually by lifting my tailbone. So I've got my upper body neutral. I'm going to lift my tailbone and allow that to gradually come to my head. Then keeping my tailbone lifted, I'm going to tuck my head, tuck my shoulders round my back slowly, and then tuck my tailbone. Good. Going to do this 2 more times. So lifting the tailbone, then allowing that movement to come all the way up my spine. And then tucking my head, keeping that tailbone nice and extended, and then slowly rounding it into flexion. 1 more time. Coming back to neutral. Good. So from here, we're just going to move our hips from side to side. We might have sort of made our lower spine work quite hard in those positions. And we're going to just drop back onto our heels, our knees nice and wide, coming into a variation of child's pose. And all this is doing is sort of just lengthening out that spine again. And you can see I'm just creating a little bit of movement in my hips for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Coming back onto all fours, we're just going to do a little bit of a thoracic rotation. So I'm going to take my right hand underneath my left armpit, drop my arm all the way to the mat, and really try and twist my torso up towards the ceiling here. And then slowly lift my right arm up. So you can just see I've got my elbow pointing up towards the ceiling. You can have your hand on your hip, or you can try and lengthen that arm out, depending on how you're feeling. So you're just going to do 3 rotations. You're going to feel it all the way down the spine. For 1, we've done 1, we've done, this is 2. Good, switching over. So you might just need to adjust yourself as you move through these positions. You want a nice stable base. So for me, I've had to move my arm in just slightly. So I'm taking my left hand now underneath, reaching under, twisting my torso up towards the ceiling. And I'm slowly going to lift my left elbow up towards the ceiling. Good. Just make this movement nice and constant, but consistent and smooth. 2, 3. Good. Placing both your elbows on the mat, you might need to bring your knees in just a little bit. Push those knees back and bring your hands in together into prayer. And we're just going to drive our armpits down towards the mat. So we're trying to work on those lats. And then take those hands over the top of the head. And again, just move from side to side. If you're feeling particularly tight here, it's okay. Just allow your body to ease that position out. If you need to take those knees slightly wider to get a little bit deeper, to allow your armpits to come a bit closer to the mat, you can do that too. We're just going to hold this for 3, for 2, for 1, slowly releasing those hands, coming back onto your all fours and finishing up with some nice rotations at the bottom of the body. So really fixing that pelvis, but working all the way down the sides as well. All right, so hands again underneath the shoulders, knees maybe slightly widen, hip width apart for this one. Tops of the feet pressing into the mat. We're going to lift our right foot and then we're going to twist it outwards. And as I twist it outwards, I'm twisting it to the right. I'm going to take my gaze and I'm going to try and look at my foot. So I'm feeling a pull all the way down the left side of my torso for 3, for 2, for 1. I'm going to keep that knee fixed. I'm going to twist my right foot in and place it over the top of my left calf. And I'm also going to take my gaze over there. So for 3, for 2, for 1. 2 more times on this side. Slowly moving around. Take that right foot out. Take your gaze out. 2, 1. Keeping that knee fixed. And watching all the way around for 3, for 2, for 1. Last time. Nice and controlled. Try and go a little bit wider for 2, for 1. Bringing that foot in for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Switching over. If you need a bit of rest on those wrists, come back, roll them out, and then onto the other side. If this is too much, maybe just do 1 on each side, but make it nice, making sure it counts. So lifting that left foot up, twisting that foot out, taking my gaze over towards those left toes. 2, 1. Slowly allowing that foot to come in. Switching my gaze over my right shoulder, that left foot for 2, for 1. Once again, we've got 2 more goes. For 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly coming in. For 3, for 2, for 1. Last time. Make it count. 3, for 2, for 1. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Slowly pushing back onto your heels, allowing your back to just round a little bit. Bring your hand to either side of your body, maybe holding onto your toes, and just rocking from side to side in this position. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Placing your hands either side of your knees, hinging up from the hips, or you can roll up if that feels really good for you. And we're just going to be seated towards the front of the room. We're just going to do a couple of mini twists just to finish off. So I've got both my hands on the left hand side of my body. You can have your legs crossed or you can be on a seat for this, for 2, for 1. And then I'm going to slowly rotate round for 3, for 2, for 1. Rolling those shoulders, moving my back freely. Thank you so much. I hope the session has felt good on your back. See you soon.